Hey everyone, I've been looking forward to making this episode for a few months now, and here it is finally. Want to hear from one of Dell's newest pre-sales principals about how she went above and beyond? Brian.Dehn here. I started my video blog in the first 4 episodes by talking about the basics, the foundation of your career. In the last episode, number 5, I moved from the basics to the above and beyond, the attitude, the mindset you need to have in going above and beyond, outside the basic requirements of your role, of your job. I had the privilege of talking with one of Dell Technologies' longtime pre-sales principals, Wayne Abbott. If you haven't heard that episode, go listen to it. Wayne is one of the best examples I know about of someone who went above and beyond his job and still does. Now, for this episode and the next one, Dell Technologies Presales just finished its annual principal program application cycle, where advisory systems engineers and solutions architects are nominated for and apply for the role of principal. Basically, applicants have to provide written and verbal justification for why they think they should be a principal. It is not an easy process, and there are always more applicants than there are openings. Knowing that, to be named as a principal is a truly amazing career accomplishment. And the latest group of principals was just announced a couple months ago. I talked with one of them recently, and we had a great conversation. In fact, it was so good, I want to make 2 episodes out of it. In this episode, she's going to talk about her professional background and various challenges she's encountered and conquered. And in the next episode, she'll talk about how going above and beyond has been key in her advancement to where she is now. So, let's meet Neetu Kaul.
Hey, y'all, I have the privilege of talking with Neetu Kaul today, one of Dell's newest pre-sales principals. And I want to jump right into this. Neetu, thank you for making the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Would you take a couple minutes to introduce yourself and briefly talk through your career history, how you started, what your various job roles have been, and what you're doing now? I want people to get to know you a little bit.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Brian, for having me here. Really appreciate it, and I'm humbled by the offer and the opportunity. I'm based out of Austin, Texas, and I've been with Dell for 11 years. I came in through the EMC acquisition and also through the VCE acquisition. So I started my career here at Dell as a pre-sales engineer. So I've always been in pre-sales. I came in as a system engineer, went through the ranks, and senior and advisory. Have had the opportunity to work with multiple teams and different types of customers, whether it's the enterprise space, the commercial space, the enterprise acquisition space. So that's been really great. And most recently, I moved into another business unit within the pre-sales organization, which is called Global Alliances. I am the Chief Technology Strategist for the Dell Equinix relationship. And Equinix is a data center provider, one of the latest partnerships, very new partnership for Dell in this co-location space. And having spent about 10 years here in the pre-sales field has definitely helped me set up myself, with the right foundation, right? Just because of the fact of the type of customers I've touched, the type of technologies that I've touched, to really help me sit in a position where I can put together a roadmap of, joint value offerings between Dell and Equinix, and really see how we can grow the business as far as keeping the customer outcomes in mind. So that's it. And the beauty about being in an organization like EMC and Dell is that it allowed me to completely, pivot from my role, from something that I could do in my sleep to something that's completely new and challenging. So I did not have to look outside, and I think that's been a blessing.
I'm guessing that along that path you just mentioned, you've encountered challenges, some types of challenges, roadmaps. That's an SE talking, roadblocks. So I'll ask, have you encountered challenges? And I'm assuming you did. So would you mind talking about what they were and how you faced them?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So before coming to Dell, I was a customer. So coming to a joint venture like VCE, you really had to push your boundaries as far as the technical aptitude is concerned. Now you had to think outside of the zone of what storage solutions look like, because this was an era of where we were doing converged infrastructure and solutions for the customer. So yes, you had to overcome that, right? Get out of the storage zone, figure out what compute looks like, look at the virtualization aspect, and of course the networking too. So all in all, there were it definitely involved a lot of work outside of the regular, things that you are supposed to deliver as an SE to really come up to speed with the different technology layers, how to put it all together, understand the customer's pain points, and then kind of, marry the two. Like, what are the challenges that a customer faces, and then how can we help put together the solution? So I would say the first is definitely, getting up to speed technically, right? Being that expert. That was a challenge, which was a good challenge to have, right? Because then that allowed you to grow as an individual and, really up-level your skill sets. The second one I would say is just, the personality, right? Being customer facing, coming from being a customer to being a vendor, speaking up, raising your hands. I think, just building that level of confidence, that was a challenge. And, fortunately, the one of the things that, was very, very helpful is the fact that you didn't have to know everything. Right. There was a big community supporting you, in order to help you overcome the challenge. And I think the most important thing is it's okay to say no, but then go back and do your due diligence to figure that out. So that confidence, really working towards building that confidence to speak up, to get a seat at the table. I think that was the other challenge that we faced. And, speaking, from female perspective in this workspace, in this not workspace, but in this environment of pre-sales, especially, if I can say, I mean, being a woman, you always have to bring your top game, right? And in fact, I would say you've got to be at not just give it your 100%, but give it your 125%, right? To get that seat at the table, to be successful, right? So that is the other, challenge that we faced. I would say that in my career, I have come across a lot of strong and successful women in leadership roles. And you would be surprised to know that 80% of them have to combat the imposter syndrome. And sometimes you are taken aback because you see such strong people up front, right? And you think, well, it's just me. But believe it or not, that is something that is another challenge. That is the imposter syndrome. Definitely, that is something that I have personally battled with at every phase in my career, within it. So, and I think what I can say is that Dell has given us a lot of opportunities, right? They have a lot of, culturally, I think they have changed a lot. There is a very strong emphasis on allyship, on diversity and inclusion. There are a lot of employee resource groups that help you overcome that. And I think, that was very, very helpful in helping me to, overcome that. And I can't say enough about the power of allyship, right? Being in a room where somebody speaks for yourself, without you having to ask for them, has been very, very impactful. As I've navigated through the multiple years here at Dell.
Yeah, that's interesting. It brought a thought to mind. Kind of related to that. Mm-hmm. I've seen that, like, getting to the level where you are now, a person almost has to have a certain level of self-confidence in them to push them to it, to make them think like that is something that they can actually achieve. They can go do. Was that something that you encountered that you felt naturally a confidence, or just what are your thoughts around that self-confidence that brought you to where you are now?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to your question around challenge. I think the other biggest challenge was me myself, right? Really getting out of that shell and thinking that this is achievable, right? And I think I was my biggest, I would say, enemy, and I think it helps to be surrounded by other people who have done this before, that make you feel, or like other role models that make you feel, hey, you can do this, this is achievable. But yeah, I had to definitely work on that, right, to come out of the shell. And I think it was a change in the attitude, a change in the mindset, that yes, I can do this, right? I am good, right? I have the skill sets, and I have the background, and I have the resume, and I have done everything, and I definitely deserve this, right? So it was that taking that next step to get out of the shell, and to change the mindset from saying that, hey, 80% of the times, what I'm doing, I'm very comfortable doing. It's the 20% that I'm uncomfortable. You got to switch that. You got to switch that to where you are uncomfortable 80% of the times versus 20% of the, because that is what will propel you outside your shell. And if there are opportunities that come your way, your first reaction is, can I do this? And then you think about it before accepting it or saying yes or no. So I think the biggest thing that has really helped me and completely changed my career trajectory is saying yes first, and then having the conviction to make it happen, because then you don't have a choice, right? You got to do it. So I think that's the other big mindset change that has helped me through this. As I've been thinking about the different things, or what next. Always questioning yourself. What next? Is this? It's not good enough to be here. What else can I do? Where is that gap? What is that process that you can improve? Or how can you help others? Right? I mean, basically thinking about, not just about what you are expected to do, but what you can do, right? Mm-hmm. And as you start doing things like that, it even drives you down a path where you find your strength or you find your passion, because it's very easy, right? How many people have you said, you've got to find your strength, and you've got to find your passion, do what you're passionate about. It's not very easy. I mean, if it comes naturally to some people, they are very fortunate. But sometimes it takes time to really find out what is it that drives you, right? At the end of the day, are you just doing a job that's driving you, or are you driving the job? So, and there will be a lot of hits and misses, right? There'll be a lot of oh, I tried that, it didn't work, let's do something else. Or you come to that aha moment. Oh, I really had a great day. I worked a lot. I worked 12 hours, but guess what? I feel so good about it, right? Because you did something that you're passionate about. So yeah, those are, I mean, I know you asked me a question about, in terms of confidence, but I think it's all interconnected, because you find your passion, the strength comes, the conviction comes, and you just make it happen. And then that automatically helps you build the confidence, because that's what you're passionate about.
What I really appreciate about Neetu is her willingness to be open and honest about herself. You heard her journey, her growth, her challenges, things she had to overcome. She talked about a mindset and an attitude change that's required. In the next episode, you'll hear more from Neetu about that mindset change, as she talks about how she went above and beyond and still does, and how that change has been so important in her getting to where she is now in her career. So don't miss my next vlog. I think we all need to hear what she has to say about going above and beyond.